Hi, my name is Kathy Michelle Blaney. I typically just go by Michelle. I've been an educator for 13 years, the past 5 of which have been at Buckeye High School in Rapides Parish. Absolutely love what I do. As an educator, I am most passionate about building student confidence and proving to them that they are all capable of learning. Whenever they come to me, they are at the secondary level, so high school, 8th grade, and oftentimes they will come to me defeated in math and science, saying things like, I just can't do this. I don't like math. I don't like science. I'm not a science person. And I try to get them to understand that everyone is capable of learning. Everyone is capable of doing anything that they are empowered to do and have the resources to do. So my passion in education is to get them to believe in themselves and believe that they are able and that we will get through it and they will be successful in my class. So I do this by, first off, learning my student. I want to learn their background. I want to learn what makes them who they are. And I'm going to use that on a daily basis to allow them to relate to the material that we are learning for the day. This helps them to build confidence, it makes them comfortable, and it makes them successful throughout the entire school year. So let's talk about the students that you're about to watch. They are a group of 12th grade students who are at the college TOPS pathway for high school. They are in my Biology 2 AP class. This lesson is focused primarily on cell communication and directly aligns with the College Board curriculum. The objective of this lesson is that students should be able to describe the ways that cells communicate with one another, including direct contact, local signaling, and long-distance signaling. Since this is the first lesson of a new unit, I prepared for this lesson through a backwards design, looking at what I wanted them to know by the end of the unit, by the end of the chapter, by the end of this lesson that would help prepare them for the future. I also always prepare my lessons with students in mind. Keep in mind, cells are microscopic. They're things that students can't see or touch, and so that makes it harder to grasp. So I always try to make education relatable to them. You're going to hear me use various examples throughout my lesson, trying to increase their relatability to the material. So trying to get them to see that cells communicate often the same way that you and I do. My overall goal for this is that they can make the connection between cell communication and the cell cycle. The cell cycle is directly affected by cell communication because cells need to be able to reproduce and grow and develop and repair. So through all of that, cells need to be able to communicate. This group of students, even though they are 12th grade and TOPS pathway, they do have a lot of different abilities in the classroom and strengths. So I have them grouped together and paired together in an effort to support student learning. I look forward to having you in my class today, and I really hope that you enjoy our lesson.
Bell ringer, I want you and your shoulder partner to go over today's bell ringer with one another. Person A is going to take number 1, B is going to take number 2. All right, so number 1, it's giving this image and it's asking you what in the plant cell is going to be used for cell signaling, cell communication. Nerve cells, your central nervous system, it's going to take in a stimuli and it's going to have to react to it, right? So let's say that you're driving down the road and you are approaching a traffic light. We have, as we've discussed already, 3 different types of signaling with cell communication. Okay, so long distance being our last type of cell communication. Like we were talking about earlier, if you are trying to communicate over a long distance, how do you think you would communicate with someone? Call them. Email, those kinds of things. What are you having to pass a message through? Okay, so it could be something like a radio wave, or it could be something like a cell phone tower, or it could be through the internet, across the internet. It could be through, if you're mailing a letter, it could be through the postal service, things like that. But you're having to pass a message through some kind of pathway, some kind of different avenue. You're not just handing it off to someone. Those things aren't regulating properly. But, okay. So we've talked about all 3 different types of signaling and what is involved in each one. So now we're going to start our practice problems. Your practice problems. We're going to do each of these in a particular way, just like we did the other week whenever I had you rotating around the room. So this row, and this row, I want you to scoot over next to your shoulder partner. And quickly, note your page. You want to switch. Okay, now, remember, if you are the person on the outside, you are the person who is rotating. If you're the person on the inside, you're the person who's sitting still. When you get to Emily's seat, you are working alone, right? So we're going to come down, back, up, around, just like we did before. So every problem, you're going to be rotating and moving to the next seat. Down, back, up, around, correct? Got it? All right, so I'm gonna show each problem, and for each problem, you are either going to discuss with your partner that you think it is direct contact via gap junction, direct contact via plasmodesmata, local signaling, paracrine, local signaling, synaptic, or long distance signaling. So I want you to put up your notes. You're only working with your brain and your partner. You're going to come to an agreement. Whenever I say rotate, you will move to the next person. You're going to discuss with them what you and your partner came up with, see if y'all agree, and then we'll go over it. Okay? Okay, Jacob, tell me what you came up with and why.
Should we put long distance because it talks about the hormones, and then it also says the generate signaling pathways that Blaney says. And so direct contact and local is where it's just two things that are connected, but long distance is like two things.
Very good. So he said long distance signaling, which is spot on. Number one, he said hormones. Great indicator that it's probably long distance. The other thing that led him to realize this was the fact that it said signaling pathways. You're going through something other than just being close in a near proximity to the other cell. You're having to move across some other kind of pathway. So that's great. Now, number 3. The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland located on the front side of the neck. The thyroid produces 3 main hormones: triadiethine.
Damaged area, so it's local. And it's releasing something. So paracrine? Yeah. Local paracrine.
Yes, that would be paracrine, I think.
Why?
I put local paracrine. And after that, it says that the damaged cells are releasing the EGF. That means that the damaged cells are locally releasing that growth factor. And I say that's local. And I put paracrine because usually a synaptic is used in nerves, and paracrine is usually used more in cells.
Okay, so he said he picked local signaling because he saw that it was releasing growth factor. We talked about that whenever we were talking about local signaling. And he said he picked paracrine because of the fact that it was a growth factor being released, and usually with synaptic, it was referring to neurons, nerve cells. So whenever you were looking at this, knowing that this was your growth factor release, that should have been a great indicator of paracrine local signaling. Now, I want all of you to turn into your groups facing your shoulder partner. In your bag, you have all the different types of signaling, cell communication. Now, I am going to read you some prompts, and you are going to decide which one you think it is. On my go, you're going to have all of your cards laid out on your desk in front of you separately. So I want you to space them out on your desk. Everybody has all 5 cards. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it after I read the prompt. And on my go, you're going to grab the one that you think it is. And you and your group are going to discuss the one that you grabbed. And if all of you grab the same one, you're going to discuss why that's it. If all of you just grab different ones, you're going to try to come to a consensus as to what the correct answer should be. Does that make sense? Put them all back. After getting a cut, cells in the area that sustain damage release growth factor EGF. This growth factor sends a signal to nearby cells to grow, specialize, and more. Think about it for a few seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
I'm crying.
Yes.
If all of you have the same answer, I want person number 1 to discuss why they got it. If not, then y'all need to discuss what the correct answer is and why. So now that we've finished our activity, I want you to go ahead and put your cards back in your bag and turn back into your rows. Put your cards back in your bag, turn back into your rows. Come around and pick it up. Once you finish your exit ticket, you also are going to start on your graphic organizer or cell communication. It's going to have each type of communication at the top and 3 columns. In each column, it tells you the first one, you're going to give a little brief description of that type of signaling. The next one, you're going to do an illustration. So keep in mind, not all of us are great drawers. I am one of those, guilty as charged. But keep in mind, I don't mind if you trace off of the internet, if you trace out of your unit packets or whatever, as long as you have your little illustration. Just try to do your best. All right, so the first question for your exit ticket is, what type of communication involves a cell secreting a substance to an adjacent target cell?
Okay, so let's talk about the lesson that you were just able to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I also hope that throughout the lesson you noticed that I used various different techniques for assessing my students' mastery of the daily objective. The first thing that we did in this lesson was our bell ringer. This gave me an opportunity to pull out that prior knowledge in students so they could make the connection from what they knew to what they were learning for the day. After the bell ringer, we went into the lesson portion. Embedded in this portion, I have several different questions that I ask students of all different rigor in an effort to address any misconceptions they may have throughout the teaching and hitting those misconceptions head on right away in an effort to keep them from creating a barrier later on in the lesson that affected students' mastery of the objective. After the lesson, we went into 2 different activities. The first of which was a partner pair activity. They were rotating around the room as I asked them real-life questions dealing with cell communication. Getting that unique perspective that they were getting as they rotated between partners was essential for their learning, and it gave me an effort to hear these communications that were taking place in my class and help students individually as needed. After the partner pair activity, I grouped them in their normal ability groups. This gave them a chance to showcase what they had learned throughout the day with their group. If anyone was still off track, that group was able to support that learner and get them to a level of mastery. After their group activity, we went into the final part of the lesson, which was the exit ticket. This gave me an individualized assessment piece so that way I could gauge whether each student individually grasped the daily objective. I am proud to say that they all did, and I really hope that you enjoyed our lesson. Thank you for joining us.